Sharma, and you're still with me and the trustees of the Sunshine Charity and Mr. Shankara in the studios with me right now. So we stopped at speaking about the heart that people have for charity, especially what Ms. Rukshan mentioned about celebrities and the heart that they have for giving into charities. Talking about giving, we were speaking before the show started about Sri Lanka being ranked as 8th in the list of volunteering globally. And do you think overall, what do you think overall about that? Generally, are Sri Lankans willing to give in any way to charities or anything? What do you think about general Sri Lankan attitude about giving?
Yeah, I think the statistics that you just mentioned itself shows that Sri Lankans are very giving people, and there are so many charities in Sri Lanka. This is one of them. I believe Sri Lankans do like to share their by donating money or
in any other
way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in fact, when we came back from the US in 2009, I used to be working in the IT field back in the US, and I retired early and I was not going to work here, but I came to do music. But also my wife and I had talked about that we want to give something back to Sri Lanka. We didn't know exactly how we were going to do that, but as we came, there were many things that we sort of donated whatever we can. But then I got involved through music. It was an easy thing for me to do, only because I don't do it as a profession here. I don't perform on a daily basis, so it's easier for me to do that, and that's why I do it. So I'm able to share my talent for a specific charity who does good work, immaterial of what the charity is.
Are Sri Lankans more passionate about giving because of the 30-year war that occurred in Sri Lanka, or do you think that is just in our culture to help each other, to give out of our efforts, out of our time and money to each other? What do you personally think?
I think it's in our culture to give. Always, if you ask for something, even if it was even during the drought or something, people will give. It's not just because it's a charity. When there's a disaster, we have found that people are happy to give whatever they have. In some small way, everybody has a need to contribute almost. So it's, I think they have a heart to give.
Alright. Rukshan was just mentioning during the break time that really the reason for giving doesn't matter as long as you give. And I agree totally with what Rukshan said, because I've been looking at giving in different countries, and especially in America, where they give for tax benefits. But some time ago I would have been critical of it, but now, as Rukshan also says, it doesn't matter whether it's for tax, whether it's for karma, whether it's for the feel-good factor. It doesn't matter as long as your giving has an impact on the recipient. If it changes that person's life, then the giving has had an impact, and that's where it really should stop. The reasons, as we were discussing before, shouldn't really matter, isn't it?
Is there any other project that you are currently focusing on, maybe after having this musical evening, Christmas Magic? Is there any particular event that is coming up on the next year, organized by the Sunshine Charity? Maybe workshops for the kids?
Something really good that happened was we got funding from an international donor, and normally they give really for the beneficiaries. But here this donor said you really have to improve the skill of the teacher. And our teachers are from Trincomalee. They are not really skilled, they are unskilled, but trained, amateurish. So we utilize this grant to have teacher training workshops, and we actually have a very qualified trainer who goes to Trincomalee, who has set up all the learning tools. So we have excellent educational material. We don't have earlier we would have had just silly toys for them to play, but we have also come a long way. So all our material are educational material. The books are gifted by Asia Foundation. So we have a library for the children.
Nice.
So I think we also, it's a learning process for us also how we progress, and we are lucky that people have been giving.
But looking back, I'm sure you must be very proud of what you're doing. Since for many years it's been going on a very positive note, which I think. Let's move on to Mr. Rukshan Perera. Why did you suddenly decide to take a break from music? This is a very random question.
From music?
And you went into information systems and then business administration. Why that?
Well, my parents always wanted me to do higher studies, and when I was going to school, I got involved in music at a very early stage.
Yes.
It actually came from my mother. My mother was a music teacher, so I started off very young.
When you were 10?
So, yeah.
I heard that you had your own band when you were 10 years old.
Yeah, correct. My own band with my cousins who lived next door. So that that made it very easy. If people were scattered around, that wouldn't have been a band. So and we used to compose songs. On weekends we would sit under this jam tree and and write songs. And at 12 years we performed at the Radio Ceylon. It was called Radio Ceylon at the time, and Vijay Korea is the one who did the interview, and then we performed all our new songs. So I got involved in music at a very early stage, and when I was getting serious on that, like I was 14 years when I was called for the band Golden Chimes. That was a very popular band at the time, and my father didn't like it all that much because he knew that I was going to neglect my studies, but my mother knew that my passion was that, so
it's in the blood.
It's in the blood. So anyway, I managed that, and then I was still at Royal. I was doing A-levels when I joined the Super Golden Chimes. That was another famous band at the time. So back of my mind, I always wanted to finish my studies. So I did music scene for a while. I went to Europe and Asia, and then I quit at a certain age, and I went to the States and did my bachelor's in information systems, and I did an MBA as well. So at that point I knew I had to, if I am to switch my sort of careers, then I need to be serious in that. So I sort of finished my music career, got into a different one, but music didn't stop. I mean, as a hobby, and I got into jazz there in the States, and I performed for concerts as well, but not on a daily basis. It was like whenever I had the time and opportunity to perform, I did. So that was the switch from music to the other. As a result, I switched back pretty early, and I retired pretty early, and came back to music.
How was that transition?
Transition was easy in some ways, difficult in other, especially coming from the US to Sri Lanka. There's a lot that you need to sort of adjust yourself. You have to sort of switch off your mind to things that you are used to back there, which we knew because we were coming on holiday, so we knew what to expect. That was nothing new for us. So we were able to sort of switch off the things that we didn't want to sort of expect. But again, I knew that I was not gonna do a 9-to-5 job here like I did in the US, because music is my passion, and now I want to spend the rest of my life doing music.
Of course.
As more like a hobby. So I do a lot of compositions and recordings. I write songs for events. I write songs for organizations, for companies, and tribute songs.
Of course,
I do all that.
Speaking of tribute songs, we actually went through a very interesting tribute song right before the show. A tribute that you and your family members have got together and produced, a tribute to Michael Jackson.
Right.
And I'm sure you must have been a huge fan of Michael Jackson. And so tell us about that procedure, because it was actually a composition that you made with how many family members? 4 or 5?
6.
6 family members. So how was that experience? Because I know that they're in different parts of the world.
Right.
So how was that process?
Okay, so when Michael Jackson passed away, he was definitely one of my idols.
Idols.
And So when he passed away, that was a shock to everybody. I mean, he wasn't sick or something like that. So as a musician, it automatically came that I just had to write something. And the very following week I had finished a song, and I had recorded as well. I was living in Los Angeles at the time. My son was in New York. He came to Los Angeles just on a holiday, and I played the song for him, and he really liked it, and he said, Tati, why don't we do a family tribute to Jackson family? And I thought that was a great idea. And
Pereira family to the Jackson family.
Yeah, Pereira family to Jackson family. So what I did was I sent the song to my son who was in New York. My daughter at that time was in Bangladesh working for Professor Yunus. My brother and his 2 kids, son and daughter, were living in Sri Lanka at the time. I sent to all of them and I said, sing these specific lines. So each one had a line to sing, or a couple of lines to sing. They all sang those lines, recorded, sent them back to me to Los Angeles, and there I mixed everything, and that came up the final production. And also in the song, the lyrics, I used about 25 song titles, Michael Jackson song titles I embedded into the lyrics, which was great. And then the highlight of that was I was able to present this to Jermaine Jackson.
Wow. Tell us about that experience. How was that?
One of our actually a Sri Lankan friends who is working in Los Angeles in he's a jeweler, and he has a lot of contacts with a lot of musicians, top musicians, as well as top sportsmen as well. So when he heard that I had done this song, he said, would you like to do this? I said, please. And so that's how it came. Through him.
Okay. And how long did it take to get the entire song composed, put into music, and then done? Because
normal compositions, to write a song, it takes like a day.
Yeah.
But then to arrange it and record it, it takes, I mean, if you're doing it full time, you can finish it in, let's say, 2-3 days. But I was working at that time as well.
And since this is a collaboration of people from all around the world.
So it took much longer, because I had already recorded first when we decided to have a family tribute.
Joined in.
So that took probably another 3 weeks to a month maybe.
Right.
To send to everyone, and for them to record and send me the clips, and for me to put everything together, mix it and produce it.
Yeah, but the end result has been very positive.
You have seen that, right?
Yes, I have seen it. And all of you audiences out there, you can go and check it out on Mr. Rukshan Pereira's YouTube channel.
Ruk Lanka.
Sorry?
YouTube channel is called Ruk Lanka.
It's called Ruk Lanka. Alright, so on that note, we have to go for a short commercial break. We'll be right back with more stuff to talk about with Mr. Rukshan Pereira and the very privileged ladies who are in the studios with us. Don't go anywhere.